you developed a lifelong habit of reading, especially when you were in college, and it continues today. And you say I make it a goal to read for at least 30 minutes every day, and that includes books, blogs, news sites. But you also say that I've met or interviewed many entrepreneurs, and they can all point to a book that inspired them, changed their lives, or positively affected their companies. So I'm glad you focus in your book on the act of reading and how important it is for entrepreneurship. Is there a book or two that has influenced you?
Yeah, I mean, so many, but I
Yeah.
picked out a few today. One in particular that I just love and I've read over and over again is Trillion Dollar Coach. So this was kind of, it was written
This
about.
one, great entrepreneurs think alike. Is that what you're trying to tell?
Exactly, an amazing book. So it's a book about kind of an icon in Silicon Valley, who I met once, very, very briefly, but I knew many people who knew him, Bill Campbell, and I wish I would have been able to be mentored by him and knew him more. But I think that Trillion Dollar Coach really touches on this lifelong learning and kind of what he's learned about leading and things like really being sure to listen and making sure that you're guiding in the right way but not necessarily telling, and that for me I think is very common sense perhaps, but it's always at every level really appreciated to learn about that. And yeah, I mean, I think that again, like I said, there's so many books that may seem common sense, but I think always, having them as you do on your bookshelf, just even as reminders when you feel like you're maybe a little lost or you're, trying to figure stuff out, like that's when I'll go back and kind of reread some of these different books. And then the other one that is actually a new book that is written by a friend of mine, and it's called Unapologetically Ambitious. Have you seen this one?
Have not read that.
Yeah, it's brand
I'm
new.
writing it down though.
Shelley Archambaugh. And Shelley is actually in a group with me called C200, which is a women's executive group. And Shelley's amazing. And she writes about unapologetically ambitious because everybody along the way, as she was growing through the ranks, she was the first African-American C-suite executive in Silicon Valley. And she is not a founder, but she has been a CEO of many companies. She's I believe, on the board of Nordstrom's and HP and a lot of amazing companies, but growing up in sort of this role and being told that she was too ambitious and she was too this and too that, and how she ultimately dealt with that and moved forward. And so many of her messages, I believe, are very similar
Mhm.
messages to my book in terms of, like, you're always going to run into people that you disagree with and that you don't like, and you have to stand your ground and you have to move forward if you ultimately want to achieve something.